Welcome to Dubai, one of the Emirates of the United Arab Emirates. Now, most people see Dubai and think of glitzy, glamorous, tall buildings and five-star resorts, but there's a complete other side to Dubai that's rarely discovered. I'm in Dubai for 48 hours and I really want to get under the skin of this emirate and understand a little bit more about its old history, starting here in the Al Fatida district next to Dubai Creek. Welcome to Dubai. Specifically, welcome to the Al Fahidi and Al Seef district. Now, what do you think of when you think of Dubai? You will probably think of tall, glitzy, glamorous buildings, amazing beachside hotel resorts, and one of the best shopping scenes in the world. But not many people come and experience the true heart of Dubai, the old Dubai, the side that not many people see. What we're going to do today is take a journey back in time, all those hundreds of years ago, to understand how old Dubai became the bedrock for the city that is now one of the global economic powers anywhere in the world, and then also understand how the old town plays a role in today's Dubai society. Take a look around me. The first thing you'll probably notice is there are a lot less tall, shiny buildings, although on the opposite side of the river here, or the creek as it's called, there are some of the banks, but they've been standing since the 90s. I'm going to take you even further back than that, into the early 1900s and also the 1800s, to show you what Dubai was all about back in that time. Now, today's journey is going to start in the Al Fatida district here, which was built in the late 19th century by Persian merchants who came to Dubai for trade, especially in textiles and pearls. And what we can see here, specifically above me, are the wind towers known as bargeal, which was an early form of air conditioning, channeling cool air from right the way up there down into these buildings here, which were both the shops and the homes. The district actually was nearly demolished back in the 1980s, but fortunately Prince Charles, who's now King Charles in the UK, King Charles III, came in 1986 to Dubai and advised against the demolishing of these wonderful buildings. So they do still stand today and are in fantastic condition. So what we're going to do is take a walk through here now and have a look at some of the traditional Arabic and global coffee culture that you can find in this particular souk, and then also have a look at some of the narrow alleyways, the wooden doors, and the contrast between the new Dubai skyline and the old one here. Let's go. Here's an example of just some of the decorative wooden doors. I expect this isn't one of the oldest ones that we're going to see today, but you can already see, and I've only walked for 10-15 yards through here, and what a difference it is compared to the rest of Dubai. I'm already excited, to be honest with you. I can't wait to get in, so let's go. So all around this area here of Al Fahidi, we have souks, or little shops like this selling textiles and lots of different materials, which dates all the way back to the early 1900s when the Persians first landed here in Dubai and set up this particular region. It's fascinating to see how it stayed the same, and you know, I didn't think I'd be saying this when I came to Dubai, but thank you, King Charles, for making sure that this particular area was not destroyed, because you can see just how beautiful and decorative these buildings are, and a real hark back to a time of yesteryear in Dubai, a world away from what we see now, which are the enormous, the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, is here, built out of glass and steel. These are built out of mud, and have recently been fortified as well with concrete, it looks like, or cement, but still keeping that kind of empathy towards the design from the early 1900s. So plenty of shopping areas here that you can go to if you so wish, and lots of people trying to hawk and bring you into their souk for you to have a look around and maybe buy some textiles. But moving through here, you can see just how different and characterful this place is compared to other parts of Dubai, which frankly, if you just stay in the shopping centres and hotel resorts, you may as well be anywhere in the world. So already 5 minutes in, can't recommend coming here enough. It's beautiful, colourful and vibrant.
Now, of course, like anywhere in the world, you are going to find some touristy type stuff here. But what I do love is the colours, and I can also smell amazing coffee shops along the way here. And just in front here you have like the half crescent moon with the star, which I think is a symbol for Ramadan, because it is currently Ramadan here in Dubai. It seems though the shops, the coffee shops and the restaurants are all open and operational, which when I lived in the Middle East about 15 years ago wouldn't have been the case. Everything would have been shut until the sun had set, the iftar or the breaking of the fast had been had, and then from the sunset onwards the city would come to life. Now as I walk around, there are incense sticks being burned, and they say that a smell often evokes an emotion, and this takes me right the way back to my childhood, where living in Saudi Arabia we would have incense burning regularly, and it just brings back that sense of the time when I was in Saudi Arabia back in the 90s. But going to continue my walk around here in search of one of the famous coffee shops that the Al Fahidi district has to offer. But I'm just enjoying looking at these beautiful wooden doors and these amazing bargeels, the wind towers up above. Spectacular. Now this part of Dubai, Old Dubai, was purposefully built here in the very center of the city because it had the water access, and so those first Persians that landed on the shores of Dubai and set up this wonderful district here with their textile shops, etc., did so because they had the water access to bring all of their materials here. And still it retains that beautiful kind of traditional style right on the water's edge, and it's so peaceful. For such a busy city, it's so quiet. I could probably whisper and you could still hear me. Here we are, just one example of the many coffee shops here in the Al Fahidi district, and I just can't get enough of walking around and looking at these gorgeous buildings. So something else that you'll see a lot if you come to the Middle East and North Africa are these beautiful spice stalls where you'll find lots of different herbs, spices and accompaniments for your dinners here. Lots of beautiful spices and aromas. And if you've ever been to Morocco, or if you've been to any other North African country, you'll see these a lot. But here we have saffron, the most expensive spice in the world, next to, I believe, lavender. So right there in that bowl is some good money. And just have a quick look inside one of these textile shops to give you an idea of the scale and the different colours that you can find along here. Beautiful materials, including Persian rugs on the wall, silk ones there, handmade, and all these different wonderful textiles that you can buy, as well as perfumes at the counter behind. What are your thoughts on this district? Do you recommend it for people? Yeah, it doesn't seem too happy. Beautiful lanterns and old wooden doors. Ah, it's lovely. I really like it. Now the only thing I would say that I don't like, and I don't like anywhere in the world, is when you are walking around and people are trying to get you to come and buy stuff. Now, for anybody who's ever been to the Middle East or North Africa or any Arabian culture, that is par for the course, because this community or this culture is all about bartering, right? And you start your sale by proposing a price or getting your customer to come into the store. So I can't knock them for doing it, but I just dislike it. But that's my problem, because I'm here in their culture, so I'm not going to ask them to change. But there's the soundtrack to this wonderful part of Dubai. The slow ticking of the engine there, and another one of these beautiful boats coming past. I may actually try and get myself onto one of those boats at some point and head over to a place called Dira, which is where there is a gold souk and a spice souk. But for now, I'm just going to continue enjoying this beautiful part of Dubai. Just imagine, over 100 years ago, people would have been in here with their homes and their stalls, and it would have been a thriving area of the city for people to come to trade goods, buy what they need for the day or for the week, and make sure they made a living. Sometimes I do wish I could just take a step back in time and experience it as a local would have done back in the day. But walking around it now today, whilst it's retained its sympathy to that period, it does allow me to kind of visualize and at least imagine what life would have been like around here. Look at this beautiful area here, and then sadly a Baskin Robbins right in the middle of it. But I think I've come to the more touristy section of this particular part of Al Fahir, which is so far blowing me away. Now, something I do need to do before I leave is try out the coffee, so stay tuned. Look at this beautiful shop here. All of these wonderful lamps and amazing textiles as well over here. Looks absolutely spectacular. Hello. Kaif Halik?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, what a beautiful shop.
Thank you, sir. Where are you from, sir?
I'm from the UK. Where about you? Where are you from?
I'm from here, Dubai.
From Dubai. Yeah. Ah, okay. You have a great shop. It's beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. There you go. That just goes to demonstrate just how friendly people are in this part of the world. I think sometimes people in the Middle East can get a really bad rep, or bad rap even, because of what the media tells people in the West. Having lived in the Middle East and travelled extensively across this part of the region, I can tell you that they're some of the most hospitable, warm and welcoming people anywhere in the world. Now, I have found not only the creek side, but also one of the famous coffee shops. Oh, Starbucks. Yeah, not going to be stopping there. Going to go somewhere a little bit more traditional. You know, when you look at places like this, it really makes you wonder, why on earth would you stay in your 4 or 5 star resort with your pools and beachside and go to the shopping centres instead of coming to places like this, where not only do you get a history lesson, but you can also see and smell all the wonderful, beautiful spices and aromas. Look at all of these incredible. You've even got frankincense here, you've got Arabic gum, alum, lots of different wonderful items for sale here. There's your saffron again. There's a lot of saffron here. Happy National Day. There we go. Another beautiful store with lots of wonderful dates, figs, sweets, candy, etc. Now this shop reminds me so much of the place that I went to in Iraq, in Kurdistan. If you haven't checked out that video, go back and have a look, because this store reminds me exactly of the shop that I went to over there, near Erbil in northern Kurdistan. Beautiful. Do you know, sometimes I wish you could get smell-o-vision. Sometimes I wish you couldn't as well, but sometimes I wish you could get smell-o-vision, because it smells absolutely amazing in here with all these wonderful herbs and spices. Right down here you've got UAE coffee, Turkish coffee, espresso, Saudi coffee, all different coffees, and Indian cardamom and American cardamom as well. And over here in the Middle East, cardamom tea is very famous, and something actually I managed to get a bit of a taste for when I lived in Saudi Arabia, and particularly flying on the national airline Saudia. You're given traditional cardamom tea on takeoff. So yeah, lots of memories flooding back to me just from coming in here and soaking up the sights and the smells. Beautiful. Maybe can just see, coming from behind that building, is one of the Emirates A380s, which is quite the contrast to this part of Dubai that I'm in right now, and I am falling more and more in love with it every moment that passes. Just look at these wonderful lanterns. Such a kaleidoscope of colours. You know what? Now I think back to my house in the UK and how bland and dull it is compared to these beautiful colours here. To be honest, I think if I tried to even begin to decorate my house with these wonderfully coloured lanterns and lamps and textiles and materials, it would probably look like you were on LSD, whereas these guys have done it extremely tastefully. So I think that's more of a concern for my interior design skills. But there you go again, coming over the building, another A380. Look at that amazing rug. Oh, that would have taken a long time to make. And remembering the tour of the rug company that I had in Agra in India, I kind of want to have a look at the back of that rug, because if the pattern is symmetrical on the back, it means that it is handmade. So perhaps we could try it on this one here. So we've got a beautiful design, and then on the back it's perfectly symmetrical. So there you go. That's a handmade rug which probably took several months to make. Hi. Kif halik? Alhamdulillah. Shukran. Now, of course, one of the main benefits of Dubai being a coastal city, but also having a creek, is that it is the seafood capital of UAE. No, not actually the capital of UAE, because that's Abu Dhabi, but the seafood capital certainly is here in Dubai. And what a spectacular place this would be to come and have some lunch next to the beautiful boon boats. Let me just get that out without stuttering. The beautiful boon boats down here, which would have been used back in the day for fishing, and I think now are probably floating restaurants, so that you can go and have a romantic meal with your partner should you so choose, because I can see there on the back of each of these boats they have an air conditioning unit. But what a view! What a view that is! Mind-bogglingly beautiful. Now you can just imagine 125 years ago this being full of fishing vessels on this side, and then all of these beautiful wooden doors here would have been open where the fish was being prepared. It would have been being descaled, filleted, you know, ready for sale, or even it could have just been sold whole. I don't know, I'm just imagining what it must have been like. And I can well imagine that the people who spent the time back then turning this old Dubai into the real heartbeat of the city would be proud to know that it still stands. And what a stunningly beautiful area it is. So massive props to the UAE government for making sure that the history and the architecture of this area remains as it is. Well done. There you go. Lovely building. Hi. La shukran. 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 Shukran.
Good price.
Yeah, la shukran. So that gentleman was getting me to come and have a look at his textiles that were for sale, and I was trying to, as politely as I could possibly do in Arabic, say no thank you very much. Whilst it is amazing, I wouldn't know what to do with all of these beautiful materials, so I have no need to buy anything. Now, if I wasn't flying tonight, I would make sure that I come back around sunset time and join all the locals who would be ready to break their fast after the evening prayer, and experience this place as the sun goes down and it goes dark, because I can imagine that the lighting here will be absolutely amazing and look wonderful. But as it is, I'll have to enjoy it today in the beautiful sunshine, and I can happily say that it's about 30 degrees. However, the humidity is next to nothing compared to Singapore, compared to Bali, where I've been. Even northern Australia was pretty intense, but Dubai is absolutely wonderful, and I always feel like I'm slightly coming home when I come back to the Middle East. It's always a pleasure. All right, as hoped and promised, I've found the coffee shop that I'd like to sit at. This one here, it's called Bukad, and I'm going to have a beautiful decaf Americano whilst looking out over this spectacular scenery. Woo! Now then, before my delicious coffee arrives, I want to take the opportunity, given that I'm right next to the creek, to talk a little bit about its history. So this effectively was the lifeline of Dubai's early trade, connecting the city to India, Africa and Persia, as I mentioned earlier on. And before oil, pearling was the main trade or industry, and at its peak there were over 300 pearl diving dhows, these boats here, operating from this particular creek area. So there would have been 300 going out in the morning, the divers searching for I believe oysters, is it with pearls? Somebody will correct me in the comments if not, and then bringing their hopefully fortunes back here. But the Al Maktoum family moved to Dubai in 1833 and established it as a trade hub by making creek access tax-free. So the first part of Dubai's tax-free economy started here down at the creek. So I'm going to take a ride, hopefully in a little while, on one of the Abras, the wooden boats, which costs I think just 1 or 2 dirhams, which is, you know, next to nothing. It's about, I don't know, 30-40 pence, and go over to Dira, which is the opposite side of the river, and to look at the gold souks and spice markets. But it's fascinating being here next to this wonderful piece of history, the Dubai Creek. There we go, just as hoped for. Here I have, albeit in a takeaway cup, my coffee, my decaf Americano with cold milk, and that backdrop. Happy, happy days. There you go. You can come and have your dinner in a little replica boat, if you so wish. Now then, before we go and jump on a boat and head across the beautiful Dubai Creek, I want to share a little bit of information about the building just here, right behind that boat that's going past now. It is the Dubai Fort, and it is the oldest building in existence here in Dubai. It was constructed in 1787. It was used as a defensive fort, and since then it's been used as a palace, a garrison, a prison, but now it's a museum, and unfortunately the museum is closed. But some of the amazing things that are in there include replicas of Bedouin tents, old souks, some of the pearl diving artifacts that we talked about earlier on. But also, probably most interesting to me at least anyway, is that there are artifacts in there dating back as far as 3000 BC. So 5,000 years old. There are artifacts right over there in that building, the Dubai Fort. Now, it is pretty disappointing that I can't head over there and have a look and show you what it's like, but I might just grab a couple of pictures and share them with you now. Now, having hacked technology a little bit there and shown you inside the Dubai Fort, before I move on, which I will do in a moment, I just wanted to share Al Seif district, and I think here we get a really nice panorama of the Al Seif district, which is effectively everything that we can see here along the banks of the Dubai Creek. And most of the buildings have been built with a nod to the old Dubai in mind. So what you tend not to see here are some of the tallest, glitziest, glamorous buildings that you would find elsewhere in Dubai, and instead you try and find buildings that are sympathetic to the old Dubai feel. So this is the Al Seif district. I'll write that down in the bottom of the screen for you so that you can look it up. But along the banks of the river here, not only have we got this wonderful Al Fahidi district that we've been in just now, but we've also got some of the banking industry, and also the Rolex UAE headquarters as well, straight ahead. So I might go and knock on their door in a little while and ask them if they've got a couple of spare watches going, and I would quite happily promote them on my channel for them. So if I end up with a Rolex in any future videos, you know that that particular conversation has gone well. But for now, digital watch, let's head to the boat departure area, the marina, that's what I was looking for, the marina, and head across the Dubai Creek to Deira, the gold souks and the spice markets.